Welcome to Learning to Glow, a show about wellness, skin health, and self-development. I'm your host, Jess. I'm a mom, entrepreneur, and skincare expert. I'm so excited to share tips on how to achieve healthy skin and bring amazing guests in the field of health, fitness, aging gracefully, and personal growth. Let's explore all different ways we can take care of ourselves as women, both inside and out, to truly shine. So let's get glowing. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Learning to Glow podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. We have a solo episode for you, and it is all about breathing. Earlier this year, when I was getting a lymphatic drainage treatment, my therapist, Jenna Bradshaw, her and I were talking about breathing, and she told me about this book that she found interesting and recommended to me called Breath by James Nestor. And this book is incredible. If you are someone who breathes through your mouth, this episode is for you. Or if somebody that you know, it breathes through their mouth. So basically, I got the book and I read it, and I was really surprised that I didn't know some of this information already. I am a mouth breather. I always used to joke that if someone kidnapped me and put tape over my mouth, I would pass away. I would never make it in the back of a trunk very long because I have always had the hardest time breathing through my nose. So there's pictures of me sleeping with my mouth wide open. It's embarrassing. And if you are a mouth breather, you know what I'm talking about. It is something that there's different reasons why certain people cannot breathe through their nose when they're sleeping. And sometimes it's because they have blocked nasal passages. That's how I am. I've always just felt like my nose is stuffed up and it's hard for me to breathe. Or you have a deviated septum. There's people who have enlarged tonsils. There's just a lot of different things that can obstruct the airways through your nose and causing you to use your mouth instead. So breathing through my mouth didn't really seem like a problem to me. I think the most negative side effects I would feel from it would just be the fact that I would wake up with a dry mouth. I was always thirsty. There's always a water glass by my nightstand. And my husband would sometimes say that I make a clicking noise because my mouth is open and it gets dry. And so I make a noise. I never snored because my mouth was open. So through reading this book, I learned that it actually is not good for your health to breathe through your nose. And if you've been listening to breathe through your mouth consistently, of course, once in a while is fine. But if you can't breathe through your nose or you're constantly breathing through your mouth, there can be some negative health issues. And if you've been following along with my journey, I have had a lot of health issues, and it's especially in the last few years. And so every time I hear anything that could help me with my health, I'm 100% in. So when I started reading this book, which I highly recommend, I was surprised. I was surprised that there were so many possible issues and side effects from being a mouth breather like myself. So one of the things that they talk about is how our nose is a filter. That's why we have hairs in our nose, so that when you're only breathing through your mouth, you're getting, it's unfiltered what's going into your body and into your mouth and things like that. It can actually have a big impact on your teeth and your gums and your oral health, which I had no idea about. Apparently, a lot of people who only mouth breathe have a lot more cavities, and you can even alter the shape of your face. Other problems from an oral health perspective would be having bad breath, tooth decay, gum inflammation, or gingivitis. It said you could even have teeth or jaw abnormalities. So I had no idea about any of that. It can be correlated to asthma, bad breath, snoring, and sleep apnea. Another fact that I learned that I thought was super interesting is that mouth breathers tend to go to the restroom in the middle of the night more than people who breathe through their nose. And that alone, I'm like, if that improves for me, that would be amazing, because I always get my sleep interrupted because I have to get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. So I'm going to tell you in this episode what I did, how I did it, and how my life has changed because of it, because it is. And I started this process about 2 months ago, and I've been dying to share it, but I just wanted to see how it actually worked for me before I shared it, because I think this is a game changer, especially if you're somebody like me who's just forever has not been able to breathe through their nose. I'm not going to get into all the details here and all the science, but if this is a topic that interests you, please go check out James Nestor's book, because it is all there and he talks about it in there's different sections. I'm going to just focus on the mouth breathing and nose breathing in this episode because that's what I've changed. But he also talks about just breathing in general and how breath work is so important. And I'm going to link my breath work episode that I did earlier this year in the show notes, because that is a great reminder. I have been actually doing breath work consistently every single day since I started doing this mouth breathing exercise and experiment, I guess you can call it, because it is so beneficial for us. And so I've been trying to start my day with a breath work of some sort, breath work / meditation. And if I don't get it in the morning, I try to take 5 or 10 minutes in the afternoon. I don't do it for a long time. Even what James Nestor will say, I've heard him on a podcast talk about, even if you just take a little bit of breath work while you're doing something, you don't have to be laying down in bed and taking time to meditate. It could be you're cooking dinner. And he talks about taking slow, deep breaths and 5 or 6 seconds in, and then 5 or 6 seconds of an exhale. So I've been trying to practice that. And that's just a great way to calm your nervous system and just slow down a little bit. This is great when you're in times of stress and things like that. So definitely check out the book if you want to learn more about that. But today I want to talk more about just my experience with not mouth breathing. And so the first thing that I discovered that was new to me was mouth taping. And I had seen people do it. At the very first time I saw somebody do it, I think was last year on Instagram or TikTok. And I was like, that's ridiculous. That was my first gut reaction to it, because I was like, what are you talking about? Why are people taping their mouths? And I also thought I will die if I do that. I can't breathe through my nose very, very well. So after reading this book, I was like, okay, I'm going to try it, but I'm going to do it in stages. So, and I'll link the actual mouth tape that I used. I just bought it on Amazon. It's very inexpensive, and I still have the first box that I ever bought. So there's tons of them in there. So what I started with is just practicing breathing through my nose. And I did the mouth tape before bed for like 5 minutes. I just put tape on my mouth. I tried to breathe. That was all I could handle. And then I took it off. The next night, I just kind of increased my time. And I did this right before bed, I did it in bed. I did it where I was awake, but I was kind of practicing that slow breathing through my nose and just kind of getting used to not breathing through my mouth. And I did that for a little bit. I got to the point, I think this all happened within about 2 weeks, but the first time that I went to bed and tried to sleep with my mouth tape, I woke up in the middle of the night and it was like on my forehead or something. I must have ripped it off, and I did not make it through the night. I didn't make it through the night for probably a week. I would either consciously rip it off, or I would just in the middle of the night at some point, I had taken it off and I didn't even remember doing that. It was something that, like, after about 2 weeks, my body was able to breathe through my nose the entire night. I was so excited. I couldn't believe it, because it's just something I've never been able to do. And what I remember feeling, I do feel like I slept better that night than I had in a while. I didn't make any noise, like I wasn't snoring. I didn't have any mouth clicking, My throat was not dry like normal. Like I wasn't super parched when I woke up, and I was just so excited because something that I thought was just chronic that I would never be able to change, I was able to change, and I didn't have to get a surgery or do anything. I just had to kind of train my body and practice a little bit. And the fact that it only took 2 weeks was shocking to me.
When I first started my wellness journey, I had already been in the skincare industry for years, working on client skin and as an educator for multiple skincare brands. When I learned about how the toxins in our personal care and beauty products could have a negative impact on our health, I knew I needed to make a change. I was used to the result-driven products that I was working with, and I was not happy with the natural products on the market at that time. Although they were safer and cleaner, they did not meet my expectations for results. I created Simply Just Skincare to deliver the results my clients demanded from their products while using natural, toxin-free ingredients. You can check out my clients' results and reviews on my website, simplyjustskincare.com. In 30 days, my clients have reported more hydrated skin, less appearance of fine lines and wrinkles, and more of an overall glow. Our top sellers include our Repair Toner, our Hydrating Undo Serum with hyaluronic acid, and more. I am offering my listeners 20% off their first order with code PODCAST. Check it out in the link in my show notes to get glowing today.
Okay, so, and I don't have this issue of grinding my teeth, but I've seen a lot of people report that they do that less when they are mouth taping. So if you have an issue with that, or cavities or things like that, this is something you might want to try. Another reported side effect is increased mood and better skin. So there's a ton of information. You can do your own research and look into it and get the book. But it's something that has a tremendous amount of research behind and a tremendous amount of positive side effects. Okay, so another thing that I saw is when you mouth breathe, you can have your face shape can be altered. But I think once we become adults, like there's not much we can do as far as mouth breathing, changing our face. Because I did see a video about that and a doctor debunking it. But one other thing that he talks about in the book that's very interesting is that how we have sort of stopped eating and chewing hard foods. And this has to go hand in hand with our face shape and things like that. So eating things that are hard to chew and using your jaw like we used to do back in the, thousands of years ago. I've even seen people using these, it's like this rubber that you put into your mouth that is really like designed to help you just get practice moving your jaw and chewing. That's not something I've done or feel the need to do, but that is also kind of talked about in this book as far as your jaw, your health, and your oral health and things of that nature. On the breathwork side of things, he really talks about how the West is we just are not good at breathing. We have a lot to learn about breathing and health and how important it is for us to do it in the proper way. And that's something that, again, I'm really excited that I'm able to utilize my nose breathing more than I have been able to in the past. And I have been practicing. There is one, and I can't remember the name of this particular breath. It's like a yoga breath, but you shut one nostril and you do like, inhales with your left nostril, and you exhale out your left nostril, and then you repeat it on the right side, and you go back and forth. That is something that really helped me while I was trying to get used to breathing through my nose. So if you are kind of stuck with the airwaves and how much you can actually get in airwise through your nose, I feel like that's a great one to practice. And the feeling I got from this book is if you don't use it, you lose it. And that is, it takes practice. We have to be kind of aware and conscious of our breathing, and especially if we're having some blockages or issues. And if we just never do it, it's going to get worse. So it's something that I am making a conscious effort to really focus on, because I think it makes such a huge difference. That's all I really have to offer as far as what I experienced and my personal story with this. It's been, like I said, a few months, and I still am taping my mouth every single night. There was a time, I think last month, where I got a little bit of a cold, and of course I did not tape that time. I did not want to suffocate. So if you're having a cold or some reason where you really can't, you're completely blocked, obviously don't mouth tape. But if this is something that you struggle with, I just recommend looking into it, because there are so many reasons to breathe through your nose. And I've really felt the benefits. I think one thing that I forgot to mention, that is one of the hugest things, is I feel like my sleep is better. And that is huge. So the fact that doing something as simple as putting some tape on your mouth can improve your sleep, that's just huge. That is always one of my biggest goals, is to try to get better quality sleep, because that affects everything. And when you're working on your health and you're trying to be the healthiest version of yourself and you're dealing with some chronic stuff, sleep is just 100% necessary. And the more quality you can get, the better for everything. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope this helps someone. I am always willing to share what I do along this journey, because I'm trying everything. Like whatever can help me get to a place that I'm looking to get to, which is just healing my body and more energy, feeling good. I'm going to try it. And this is such a low effort, something to incorporate into my life. It was kind of a no-brainer to me. But I am working on a couple other things that I've just found out about. I have never been more hopeful for something to really help move the needle in my health. So, of course, I will be sharing that too as soon as I give it a chance and I have something to actually report back to you. So make sure you subscribe to our podcast. And if you haven't left a review, I would love a review. You can head over to the link in the show notes to get to Apple and go ahead and leave a rating for us. We love to hear your feedback. If there's anything that you want me to cover or any special guests you'd like to have us invite on, please let me know. You can always email me, or you can send me a message at Simply Jess Skincare on Instagram. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please subscribe and review so we can reach more people who want to learn to glow alongside us. See you next time.